New tonight, Cleveland Fire Station 30 temporarily shut down. The city telling us it closed after a roof leak over the weekend. Currently, Hazmat is assessing the building to determine the next steps, which could include remediation work and possible abatement efforts. The station serves the northeast part of the city and the village of Bratenahl. We spoke to Cleveland City Council member Anthony Hairston about his concerns.
I was shocked, and I had heard it from community members and news reportings, and I just didn't understand. I said, wait, no one reached out, no one said anything. And, furthermore, the safety of the residents and the safety of the firefighters and those who are working inside of the facility.
The city says the roof will be replaced and there will be no impact to services. The crew is currently reassigned to stations 10, 17, and 30.